Hello, Bowtie95 here. Today I'm going to be discussing with you the pocket square. This is going to be an expansion of the two pocket square folding videos I posted a few years back. In this video, I'm going to be discussing with you the do's and don'ts of wearing a pocket square, as well as showing you a few more folds that I've picked up over the years. And at the end, I'll show a few tips and tricks to displaying the perfect pocket square. Now let's get started. I'd like to start by discussing some of the do's and don'ts of wearing a pocket square. There aren't many, but some may find them confusing or have misinterpreted them before. One of the biggest rules, and some of you have probably heard this before, is that the pocket square and the tie or the shirt should never exactly match. Now what this is referring to exactly is those sets you'll find at the department stores where you have the shirt, tie, and silk square, sometimes even cufflinks, bundled into one little package. Now those are things you want to avoid. For one, they're usually poor quality, very cheap. They're mass produced in countries like China and sent over here, and it's not made to last, and it's just very poor quality, and that shows when you're wearing it as well. Also, you'll find sometimes the pocket squares are pre-folded. You'll have like those point folds or something like that where it's stapled together to like a piece of cardboard or something like that. That's also something you want to avoid. That's very cheap look. It's very obvious looking that you didn't fold it yourself, and it kind of detracts from the look. If you're going to go to the trouble of wearing a pocket square, you should fold it yourself. Now, while you shouldn't wear a silk square that matches the tie exactly, there are a few ways to get around that. Now I'll kind of show you what I've got going on here. You'll notice the bow tie here is a plaid, and it's navy. There's also some silver and pink striping in it. And my silk square here is navy with pink polka dots. So while my tie and silk doesn't match exactly, I'm pulling the colors of the navy and pink out of the tie, which is acceptable. Also, to further differentiate the two, the tie I have here is a plaid pattern, whereas the silk square is a polka dot, so that would kind of be a way to wear something that complements the tie but doesn't match it exactly. Now you could also do like a solid pink or a solid navy, where you're still pulling colors out of that tie but not matching exactly. Or you could always just go with a plain white. White is good because it goes with everything. You'll probably notice more guys wearing white pocket squares than anything else because it is more of a safe route. Somebody who doesn't exactly have much experience with pocket squares, especially trying different patterns and colors, that's an option you might want to go with because it is safe and it is something that works. Now another rule regarding pocket squares is that it should never sit higher than an inch, inch and a half from the pocket. That's more of a older rule. I would say it doesn't really have any weight anymore. For me, it's all about personal preference. Some people are more comfortable wearing a silk square puffed out, kind of like I have mine. Some aren't. They're going to do like a T-square or a smaller puff, something a little more understated, and that's fine too. It's all about what you're comfortable with. I also like to gauge the height of my pocket square based on what I'm doing for the day, where I'm headed to, the nature of the event, things like that. So let's say like for work, I probably wouldn't wear something as puffed out here. something that's going to distract the other employees or coworkers, something that might distract the customers. While it is a bit of a conversational piece and it does add a little more flair to your look, you do want to be mindful of the environment. Also, someplace like maybe a funeral or something, you also might want to go a little more understated. You don't want to do something that's going to distract from the event, or take away from the emotion of the room. Now, if you're doing more of a look for like a wedding or some kind of dance, a more like formal event, you might want to go a little more showy. It shows that you're more fun, if you wear yourself more puffed out. It shows that you're not taking yourself so seriously. So those are times that you might want to add a little more flair. If you're in a performance of sorts, you're on stage, or doing something for camera, TV, whatever, maybe do something a little more showy to give a little more flair, a little more personal style. So those are some of the do's and don'ts of wearing a pocket square. I'm going to be discussing different pocket square folds and styles, and when they're appropriate, not appropriate, things of that nature. Now let's say you want to start wearing the pocket square to work, just to show a little more flair, maybe help you stand out more from your other colleagues. That's perfectly acceptable. But you don't want to wear anything that's too flashy, too distracting, something that kind of goes over the top of the goal you're trying to achieve here. So you'll see that I switched my silk square before to a plain white. You want to do something a little more simple, a little less understated, that's not going to cause too much of a distraction to your coworkers, your boss, whoever. Now I've done just a simple puff fold here, but I'm wearing it a little lower than I was the previous one. You could also do something like a T-square, which you probably see more than not. You just kind of fold the square into its four corners, and kind of gives you more of a safe look. While I'm not a huge fan of the T-square, it does have its place. It's perfectly acceptable for like work, or let's say a job interview, something where you want to show that you have a little bit of an edge but not stand out too much. That would be perfectly acceptable there. Now, funerals, something of that nature, that's also something where a more basic style fold and silk might be appropriate. Now, if you were to, let's say, go somewhere like a wedding, a dance, something like that, which I also discussed earlier, you might want to try something a little more bold, a little more stand out. So I've got my polka dot square here again, and you could always do something like a puff fold, which I was showing earlier. Something that kind of puffs out, stands out a little more. You could also do like a pointed fold, where you just kind of puff your silk, and this time, instead of tucking the points underneath, you would kind of just bring them to the top, so that's kind of something that's a little more showy. You stand out a little more, but it also shows that you're fun, you don't take yourself too seriously. People look at you, they'll say, hey, maybe this guy's the life of the party, I don't know. Girls will come up and talk to you, guys will come up and talk to you. It's, it's a conversational piece. So those are just some different options of some folds that you can wear, and when to wear them and when not to wear them. Now, I promised to share a few folds with you guys that were not mentioned in the previous videos. So I'm going to start here with the pleated fold. This is something I picked up from a friend of mine a few years back, and it's one that I display quite often. You've probably seen it in other videos or photos of me that have been circulating around. It's something I like to wear for work, when I'm trying to look more conservative, serious. You'll see it here. I've got it displayed. You'll notice there's 3 sections to it, kind of together, and it kind of makes sort of a pleat. Now I'm going to show you how to obtain this pocket square fold. Now, for the pleated fold, you're going to take your silk square like this. You're going to want to fold it in half diagonally. So you've got both ends together like this, creating kind of a big triangle of sorts. Now from here, you're going to take the left hand, the pointed end, you're going to cross it over the right. Now instead of bringing the ends directly over top one another, you're going to go slightly askew, like I have here. This creates the first pleat. Then from there, you're going to go down here to the bottom and bring this end up over top, and like the last one, going slightly askew again. This creates the third pleat here. From there, you're just going to take the pointed end and the rounded end and fold them over top one another. And you'll see now that you have your pleats facing the front. From there, you're just going to fold away the excess fabric in the back and then stuff it in your pocket. You might want to play with it a little bit, just to get it the way you like it. But that is the pleated fold. Another fold I'd like to show you guys is a layered point fold, as opposed to the other pointed folds that I showed you in the previous videos. This one, you'll notice, has different dimensions of the points, starting from the back here with the single point and working its way out. So it gives you a little more dimension this way than some of the other point folds that you'll see that lay across the chest. And here is how you obtain this fold. Now, for the layered point fold, you're going to start out pretty much the same as you did with the pleated fold. You're going to fold one end on itself, creating a triangle here. And you're going to just go over that again, slightly askew, creating the pleats. Now you can go a little more askew here, a little less askew, depending on how you want the points to lay. And then you'll just bring up your third end here, like so. And again, folding the ends on top of each other. This time, instead of having the pleats face forward, you're going to turn the silk upside down, this time with the pleats facing up, and then you'll just stick that into your pocket there. Now you'll see you've got different points going on here. You might want to finagle it a little bit just to get it to look the way you want. That is the multi-layered point fold. Okay, so those are a couple folds I just wanted to show you that I've picked up over the years since the last pocket square videos that I made. Now I do have one more thing I want to show you before I go, and that is a trick that I recently picked up from a good friend of mine, to show that I'm human too and I'm not perfect. Like many of you, I'm sure, I have trouble keeping my silk square to stay up. You know, I'm sure a lot of you have had the squares want to come out like this, go forward, you know, if you pull them too high, or sometimes they revert back down into the pocket and you're constantly pulling it up to make sure that it shows. You know, there's a good friend of mine, he likes to wear his silks a little more puffed out and more showy, and he shared with me a little trick to keeping your square still, keeping the fold in place, keeping it from moving around as you move. And I would like to share that with you guys today. Okay, now I have a trick that I would like to share with you guys. Once I show this to you, you're going to think, wow, I can't believe it, because it is that simple. The thought never would have crossed my mind until my friend shared this with me. So, what you're going to do here, you're going to take your silk square, and you're going to take a white cotton square here, and you're just going to layer the two squares over one another here, like so. And it's really just that simple. You lay one square over top of the other, and from there you can pretty much go with any fold you want. I'll show the puff fold here that I was wearing earlier, and just stick that in there. And you'll notice now there's a lot more volume to the silk square than there was before. Also, I can pretty much move around in, and I can bend over, lean back, kind of twist, and the silk square, you'll notice, stays in place, and that's the reinforcement of the cotton square behind that is going to give more weight, and it's going to make the knot fold more firm and hold it in place. So that is my trick for you guys. I hope you have learned a lot from this video. It's been helpful for you. Now that you guys know a little bit more about the silk square, I hope to see more of you wearing them out and about. Until next time, this is Bye.